Hello, and welcome to all to another exciting session of Digital Adda, our monthly skilling specific roundtable sessions. And today is an especially engaging and thrilling session because it is a collaboration between Nascom, ER&D Council, and FutureSkills Prime, the technology skilling hub of India. FutureSkills Prime is now offering a digital engineering one program curated by 55 plus subject matter experts from 11 leading organizations in the ER&D industry. The program offers emerging technologies, hence the topic is of keen interest. Technology transformation and skill trend analysis and the effect on skilling and employment in the ER&D organizations. Today's session promises to be extremely invigorating. And we have a very eminent panel to discuss this. I welcome the panelists, Dr. Aloknath Day, CTO, Samsung R&D Institute, India, Mr. Ashish Khushu, CTO, L&T Technology Services Limited, Mr. Siva Polimetla, Head ER&D at Nascom. The session will be moderated by Ms. Vandhna Babu, Principal Analyst, ER&D Research at Nascom. Take it away, Vandhna.
Thank you so much, Kamna, for that introduction, and welcome everyone to an exciting session on technology transformation and skill trend analysis. I am most privileged to have this discussion with the three most eminent experts on this subject. In this session, we would understand the engineering R&D talent landscape and what the future holds. I would also request all those who have joined the call to kindly post your questions in the Q&A section, and we will take it up towards the end. So to set a brief context, India's engineering R&D industry is now 36 billion USD in FY22 as per Nascom. This segment has been driven by cloud engineering, services around data monetization, and digital engineering, a growth much above the market expectations. In recent years, India has emerged as a global powerhouse for engineering R&D and is steadfastly committed to ushering future growth and innovation for global enterprises. We have over 1,500 global capability centers in India, out of which 40 to 45% are ER&D related. 12 of the top 50 engineering service providers are headquartered in India, and 44 of the top 50 service providers have ER&D operations in India. Coming to today's topic, focusing on engineering talent, some estimates suggest that upwards of 900,000 installed engineering talent in India, which is expected to grow multifold in the coming years. So we witness that at graduate level, engineering is a popular choice, yet many are not clear as to what the future holds for them and whether they should continue this line. So to start with, I want to first of all ask Mr. Khushu that, and also Dr. Alok, if you both can share some tech trends affecting the engineering R&D sector. So Mr. Khushu, if you could probably start first.
Good morning to all the viewers, and thank you for having us here on the panel. A very interesting and a very important topic, of course. There are a couple of things that we need to keep in mind when we are looking at what's happening around us and what's happening globally. And then in that context, one can dive a bit deeper to figure out what is the type of jobs and skills and market demands that will emerge. That's very important because we are talking of careers and job requirements that are required over the next few years, and what exactly is going to happen in terms of the expectations people have from engineers. A couple of things that we need to understand is that for a very long period of time, we've been wanting to have everything connected, right? And it goes back about 2 decades when people said everything should be connected. I think that era is here finally. Everything and anything that has a digital heartbeat would be connected. And anything and everything that will have a digital heartbeat will not only be connected, will also have some sort of intelligence built into it, sheerly because of the power of compute that would be available on those particular devices. Now that throws up many issues, and that throws up many challenges in front of us as to what's going to happen from a job perspective, and we'll come to that a bit later. So I see a couple of things that is happening, that are going to happen over the next few years. This paradigm of every device, every product, every service being connected would mean a lot of processing happening real time, a lot of data getting generated real time, a lot of analysis and insights happening real time. Real time is very easy to say, but to give anybody or to the user an experience of real time means that you have to have very complex technologies at the back end working together. So there's a huge opportunity which is ahead of us from what the market is demanding. And that opportunity also translates to a massive opportunity for the engineering talent that we have in this country, because I don't see any other country across the globe which has the capability to supply that type of talent across the globe for various customers. And at the same time, the expectations of the talent would be completely different. So I see a very challenging environment coming ahead, which throws open opportunities for the industry as well as the engineers that are on the call right now.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Khushu. Dr. Day, if you can share some thoughts regarding, the tech trends that are affecting the engineering R&D sector.
So thanks again for the invite and hosting this, and for kind introduction. Yes, it has been fantastic journey with Samsung as CTO, and then last 10 years, we have built many solutions. Currently, I'm focusing more on open innovation as Executive Consulting Director. Coming to Samsung, let me take two examples, because instead of just a general thoughts, I think Ashish has very nicely set the context. Let me give two areas in which how we are working, and that tells the tech trends. In Samsung, for example, 2G to 5G now that we have moved over the years, and now we are working on 6G. So this advanced communications and its progress, and you see in India now, we are launching, and there is a network side, there is a terminal side, and a lot of development in the technology in that. You have on the other side, we used to work with audio, video, now it's an AR, XR, MR, this whole stuff, the 3D and the metaverse that people have been talking. So that's second place that the trend is emerging. I personally built in last 7 years, first this IoT, what Ashish was telling, convergence of technology and digital platform to hold this. And, we built a smart things platform, for example, 200 million devices are connected through cloud. So obviously there is device, there is edge, there is cloud computing. So these are technologies that are emerging. And over time, we added an artificial intelligence. So AI, IoT, but AI getting added is in AIoT. Now the blockchain is getting integrated. So these are one space through Samsung that we have delivered, and that gives you some idea about what are the technologies that is coming. One more example I would like to give it, because this is also Nascom and MITI, I see. So MITI, I recently am privileged to chair the National Steering Committee for the Technology for Agriculture and Environment. And when I see that, it's a lot of learning that these technologies, how can we bring to this agriculture and environment front? I mean, it's a food delivery is one story. There are many startups that have come, but ripeness of fruit without interventions, the taste of them, where from it is coming, this whole blockchain is setting the traceability part of it. And people are talking about farm to fork, this whole supply chain end-to-end thinking. Now, again, we will decipher what are the skills required, but I think this end-to-end thinking and this business at the end is a prerequisite for that. So what I want to bring is, there are things that are physical, There are things over time through digitalizations, we have built this cyber platform and there are skills required there. But the new emerging as ER&D, what we see is how the cyber and physical are coming together. There is this construction factory, there is this chemical factory, and in that the IT is becoming pervasive, AI is coming into place, and I think we need to learn more and more, and the job opportunities would grow around this cyber physical systems.
Absolutely, absolutely. Completely agree with these thoughts. So we have, sort of understood, these tech trends which are affecting the engineering R&D sector. So, we are, coming to the topic of the day, which is that, what are the top engineering job roles so as to see in the engineering R&D sector? So, Mr. Khushu, starting from you, from an industry perspective, what do you think are these top engineering job roles that you can expect to be in demand in the next 5 years for the fresh graduates? And what kind of work will they do, and what kind of work will they perform, job roles will they perform when they join employment?
Fair, thank you. Again, the question has multiple dynamics, dimensions as well. People would be interested in knowing what are the type of job roles that are available just 6 months down the line or a year down the line. But I'm going to stretch this a little bit more. And my request to the students on the call, kindly do not look at what's going to be available from the lens of the next 1 year or 2 years. People who are graduating right now or would graduate in the next 1 or 2 years have a career of about 35 to 40 years ahead of them. The question is, what is the type of landscape and expectations that are going to be from these engineers as you look a decade or two down the line? What are the fundamental changes that are happening? That's very, very important because that can help them take the right decision right now as to what to do. Do you want to get into a job right now? Do you want to pursue some specialization? Or if you want to get into a job, what type of a job? So therefore, with that context, let me answer this aspect, and then I'll come to the other part of what is going to be available immediately. I think we are out of the era of generalization. A software developer today has to understand that a few decades back, companies were looking for engineers who could go and do mainframe maintenance, etc., etc. That era of software developer as a general skill is going to soon get over. You're entering into an era where there will be convergence of technologies like never before. And therefore, you have to understand the interplay of technologies as you go and build systems or write software, etc., etc. And I'll give you a very small example why this is going to be of paramount importance in your career as you go forward. You can no longer go and tell a person that my software performs extremely well and it will have a response time of X seconds or milliseconds. The software of the future and the solutions that you're going to develop for the future will be so dependent on the computational infrastructure, which is high-powered semicon chips on high-power bandwidth that's provided to them, that you cannot any longer say, I wrote a software and I'm not bothered about what is the type of performance it gives while running on one platform or the other. You have to be aware of this. You also cannot write software all by itself and say, oh, somebody else will do testing for it, and I'm not bothered about writing software which is not secure any longer. So security will be an intrinsic part of your software development abilities. Testing and producing software codes that are good, robust is going to be mandatorily a part of what you should know. And of course, you should know how the software or whatever work you're doing will work in the environment where it is working with different type of technology. So you ought to have an understanding of what we call system engineering, but I'm not really getting there, but a little bit of how this entire blocks of technologies interplay with each other in the real world and how it impacts the type of work you're doing, or what would be the type of deployment environment where your artifacts would be deployed. So that's going to be an imperative. The second imperative would be, therefore, specialization. You cannot just walk in and say, I'm a software developer and I know XYZ technologies. That's over. Let's not mix tools with your understanding of development methodologies and your capabilities in architecting, etc., etc. Specialization in a particular topic would be of huge premium. You have to specialize in something. I'm a communications expert. Well, no, it won't any longer fly. I'm a software developer, won't any longer fly. So specialization in a particular topic is of extreme importance. Last, third point that is going to be of, again, very importance as we go forward is domain expertise. Now, core engineering capabilities, if you are from core engineering branches, that would be very important. Or if you accumulate and work in a certain area or a certain industry over a period of time and understand a lot more about that particular industry or that particular market, that would also become very paramount in the way you get further career opportunities. So in a long term, and I'm not going to put this long term as 10 years and above, maybe the next 3 to 8 years or the next 3 to 5 years, these would definitely be much in demand, and people would look and give premium and huge opportunities available to people who understand convergence of technologies, who are specialized in a certain area and have good understanding of a particular domain, which they will get through experience. Short term, as we look forward, of course, you will continue to be in demand if you understand, if you're a good software developer and a good software architect. Now, many times people think that because they are good developers, they can be architects. That's not really the case. So you ought to be very good in one of these areas. So this is going to be in demand. I believe embedded would be a big demand area as well, because embedded engineering, embedded AI, these are going to play a very, very important role as you go forward. And then, of course, comes the other jobs in the near future of the next 2 to 3 years, as in analytics and AI, etc., which will continue. But divided into 2 areas, immediate for the next 2 to 3 years, this is what is going to be in demand. Anytime after 3 to 5, I mean, these are just timelines. They could change from a year here or there. But eventually, as you move forward in your career, specialization, understanding the interplay of convergence of technologies, and acquiring good domain expertise, that's going to be the determining factor between people who will be hugely successful and the rest.
Great. Thanks for the insight, Mr. Khushu. So, Dr. Alok, across the various verticals that you've helmed at Samsung, so according to you now, what are the job roles in demand currently? And again, what future job roles also do you see to be in demand?
So let me take the thread, where Ashish ended. I think 3 important things: the convergence of technologies, the specializations, and, deeper knowledge about domain. These are 3 important things. I was giving examples in the last round itself, how in Samsung we are building this IoT platform and connecting everything. So when I look into that, I think 3 broad trends that are coming. Systems are going to be much more intelligent. So this definition of intelligent or smart systems can be a little different for different set of people, because I can also talk about smart materials. So materials becoming at the atomic level, it is becoming an intelligent, and can we change at that level and manipulate to improve it, or a new materials coming. So intelligence is an important dimension. The second dimension is the connectedness. Everything and anything talking to each other, because we talk about, it used to be people-to-people communications. We brought people to machine. Now we are talking about machine-to-machine communication. So I think it needs a new paradigm when nobody is intervening, how devices will communicate, take decisions, and things, and 3GPP standards are emerging to do that. So that's a connectedness. And the third thing is trusted systems. Today we talk about, and Ashish mentioned about security. It's very, very important that the data privacy is preserved, systems are secured. This is already there, but when you talk trusted, it means even your partner solutions are also equally secure and privacy preserving and not biased, because the AI training that we are going to be doing can take the system away in a different way. So how do I know that the system can be trusted, what you are claiming and what you are doing inherently? There is this whole concept of explainable AI that is emerging out of it. So I think intelligent systems, connectedness, and the trusted part of it are three different dimensions that will be always there. Now, coming to the skills again, back, that itself is an indication of how you can orient depending on what branches you study. And I'm assuming you told me the 5,000 people have registered, and they might be joining from different parts of country, even tier 2, tier 3 cities. People might be also not all are software engineers. I'm assuming some will have an arts background or science background. It's all perfectly fine. I want people to know that technology is actually making sure people used to study arts earlier, but not having jobs in that, or a law and something else that was not connected. But today, technology is helping that irrespective of what you are studying, it is valuable. It can be reaching to others and it can bring in overall value. So in summary, I want to say, one is, if you are talking about physical systems, you are not a software engineer. You can talk about materials, you can talk about chemicals, agri-chemicals, biochemicals, pharmaceuticals, and there is room, there is research, there is development around that. So that's, be comfortable, and it's okay to be in that space. If you are into tier 2, tier 3, and not knowing very hi-fi software, but even we are not done with the digitizations of all of our records, land records, and name anything, your rural segments, many documents are still not digitized. So even that is an important job if you are talking 5 years, 7 years. Maybe at some point they will not be, but I don't see next 5 years that is going to go away because we are not done with it. So there is a job purely on that. And if you have in cloud computing and others, you can stay fully on the cyberspace and keep building the cyberspace. But what we are promoting in this engineering R&D, that we have seen automotive systems coming, we have seen the constructions companies, we have seen consumer industries, logistics, all of these, there is a physical goods that is going to be carried from one place to the other. We don't eat money, we don't eat other things, cyber, we eat food, right? So this is absolutely required. And how you produce, how you distribute, the SaaS platform that are coming overall in India, this has to be integrated. And this is a right time, next 5-7 years, I think this convergence is happening. So those who are graduating, if you can have a domain knowledge, which is said, if you have that, and if you have a software skills, you are king of the world. Let me tell you, there is no better blessed people than you to drive future, to create future, and apply those and grow along with it to be able to build products, services, solutions. So I'll stop here.
Great.
If you have further questions, we'll take it from there.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Day. That was most insightful. So Siva, sort of segueing a little bit here. There are some jobs which are done in the engineering R&D domain. How is that different jobs in the IT BPM related domains, which most of us are familiar with? And what is this industry level demand and supply gap that we are witnessing between academia and industry? And how can this skill, how can the audience also who are looking at it, how can they take up that particular skill which will grow at a faster rate? So a couple of questions in that one question for you. Siva, you're on mute.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Vandhna. So the difference between the work that anyone do between ER&D and IT is the first question. So the engineering R&D is you designing and developing the products that you touch every day, and also testing those products to ensure that the functionality, performance, and also the reliability, and also maintaining it throughout the product defined life. So this is, a product which can be you touch every day. It could be aircraft, it could be a car, or it could be a mobile phone, or oil and gas equipment that is fueling the automotive, or it could be energy equipment. It could be, energy distribution or energy exploration equipment. So that will be powering the devices that you do every day. Or it could be telecom, network infrastructure that connects all the products. So whereas IT is slightly different, and it is more building and maintaining the IT applications that enables the business process or operations of the enterprise and drive the efficiency. So just to give you a small example, for example, the IT uses a ERP product, either it is done by SAP or Microsoft. The product development comes under ER&D, the software product. And then using that product, customizing it for the business applications of each enterprise comes under IT. So in today's environment, I think what Ashish and Dr. Alok explained, so there is a boundaries between the IT and engineering is blurring because of the real-time applications, because the IT is enabled by the real-time data with the connected products. So the second question is, what is the demand and supply? I think, both Ashish and Alok briefed about it, but maybe, I'll simplify a little bit what skills on the demand. So if you see that overall ER&D sector of India, the total demand is at 1.3 million engineers. That is almost 1.3 lakhs engineers. And today, the sector is employing about 0.96 millions. About roughly 350K engineers, right? So where we're not able to supply as a country. And this is going to rise. The demand is going to grow at 13.2%, and it could reach to 2.15 million engineers by 2025. And the supply is expected to, reach only 1.4 million. So you see about a 0.8 million demand versus supply gap. Then if you really look up as ER&D function, I think, three major disciplines. One is the mechanical. The second is the embedded, which Ashish touched about. The third is software and digital integration. So this is the three, if I bucketize the broad skills. And today, if you see that this 900,000 engineers, which is equal split of 30-30-30 between these three streams. And the mechanical is expected to grow between 3 to 6%, and the embedded and software to grow between 18 to 22%. So this is the top skills. One is the embedded software, I would say, then hardware when I say embedded electronics. The second is the software and digital integration. So the software is predominantly, what the major course in engineering is the computer science, right? So this is the two streams I see a larger growth in the coming years.
Great, thanks, Siva. Thanks for that answer. Yeah. So coming to the next question, we have understood, these job titles and the job roles. We have also understood what kind of skills are needed. So of course, there is a glaring, so to say, gap between the demand and supply. Now, how do we bridge this skill gap? So, Mr. Khushu, I want to start with you this time. That you do witness that these fresh graduates, have you witnessed these fresh graduates to be aligned to the industry relevant skills and roles? And if there are any gaps, how does one bridge that gap?
Well, the answer is obvious. No, they're not aligned. Well, that's a more direct answer. But I would also like to, qualify that a little bit. Yesterday, I was in one engineering college in Jharkhand. And whenever we visit these engineering colleges, you realize that all engineering colleges today are working hard to work along with the industry to enable their staff as well as provide more opportunities for students to interact with the industry, take internships, etc., etc. I can very well tell you with a huge deal of conviction that this is the sentiment across the country in almost every college, whether a college is in a small town or whether the college is in a metro. So there's a lot of effort that is happening by the institutions. Of course, you can always do better. And there's a lot of money and effort being put by the industry as well to increase this network of collaboration and provide platforms for students to, enable their skills, do internship on industry programs, etc., etc. So that's item number one. The second thing is that you also have initiatives like FutureSkill. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic, where the industry is coming and saying, look, these are the skills that are required. This is the type of syllabus that you should follow. And kindly, if you do this, you will have an edge over the over everybody else. So there's a lot happening in the country. Of course, there's a lot more needs to be done, a lot more has to be done and needs to be done, given the scale and size of the spread of the colleges and the demand, etc., etc. It's falling in place, perhaps a bit slow, should have had happened earlier. These are discussions and debates that can happen, but for sure it's falling in place. And initiatives like FutureSkills are definitely accelerators in many ways. Awareness, pushing people, etc., etc. I must also tell you one more thing, Vandhna, here. I'm also of the opinion, and this is my personal conviction, that if we keep talking of engineers who are millennial engineers and Gen, etc., etc., born in this world, there are more than enough courses available through various forums and through various channels today for these engineers to take the initiative. So it will be incorrect to think that only the colleges and institutes should provide this environment. There are engineers who are available in these engineering colleges. And if you want to enjoy the fruits of a capitalistic society and you want the great jobs that you want and you want to have the great money that you so dream of, time for you to spend some time and get on to these courses that are available throughout your 4 years. I don't see that happening too much. But wherever I see that happening, I've seen those students definitely get the edge in terms of their hiring. Last but not the least, the fourth point I wanted to highlight is that it is not only coursewares which will enable the skills of the engineers and bridge the gap. There are also at least more than a dozen very large scale global standard of global quality hackathons which happen in the country, run by various engineering companies. Right? It's important that students should participate in that. That's also one way of creating awareness, learning a lot, and elevating their capabilities. So the gap exists. The quality issues exist, but these 3 or 4 things are coming together. A lot more focus, a lot of effort, and also my request to these engineers on the call, don't leave it only to the educational institutions and the industry. Please live up to the reputation of young dynamic generation and go on one of these courses that are available on the internet and just get adhered to. In fact, such people perhaps will demonstrate more positive attitude, which is a big tick mark when you hire engineers.
Great. Thanks.
So these things are happening in India, though a bit slowly.
Yes. Thanks, Mr. Khushu, for that insight. So, Dr. Day, you are also very actively involved with the academia, just like Mr. Khushu. So from an academic perspective, you are leading also the talent charter for the engineering council at NASCOM. So how can now also academia help bridge this skill gap for the graduates to be job ready?
Yeah, thank you. And let me wear a different hat. And currently, I'm associated as adjunct faculty in IISc and IIT Jodhpur. So I have seen such premier institutes, how they work. But also, I think in last 20 years, I should say that I have visited 60 plus universities and colleges, and many multiple times. So we have seen very closely, we have contributed into this NEP program, the National Education Policy 2020. So in that we have contributed, and there are various factors there. Particularly, I'll highlight some 1, 2, 3, what are important, and those who are from the college principals and professors that have joined, I would encourage them to implement some of them in the gradual way. You don't have to transition right away, but it can take time. So one is the internship. I think this bridges a gap between an academic institutes and the industries at large. Therefore, we have talked there about after second year, you can do some things. Now you can do it in your institutes, maybe some mentors from R&D labs and engineering institutes. In second year, post second year, you go out and work with some of these companies. You can go after that into the research way or development way. So what it is doing is you also have to self-explore many a times, and I'm looking at the questions here. Many a times people are looking the full answer from outside. What are the top skills, this and that? But I don't think that is right, because each of us are very different. We have our own orientations, we have our preferences, we have our learning capability on certain areas more than the others. Therefore, we should fuse what are the opportunities. Opportunities are galore, and who we are needs to be combined with that to give that answer. It's a specialized counseling in that sense. But what I wanted to highlight is the internship is one way, and institute should encourage and partner with industries and then allow students to go out to see that. One other thing we did from Samsung itself, I can take examples because we could not reach to all of the colleges, but many good people are there. So what we did is a program called PRISM, and it's stimulating students in that sense. And this has a 3-student project. It's a 6 months durations, and you have a mentor inside the organization and a professor, and you are building something. So you are delivering something, not so critical element for the company, but company would also like to leverage, but you are also learning. So it's, 2 weeks of learning, 2 weeks of work, 2 weeks of learning, 2 weeks of work. This is going very well, and we are able to reach, I don't know, close to 5,000 students probably we have been able to reach so far, and we have a big dream to go to many others. This is one way that I would say. And then there are specialized research programs, because some wants to go deep tech. Then how can you do collaborations? How can you do co-creations, co-inventions? These dimensions, we are looking into it. So that's something that I wanted to say from the academic standpoint to do that. Your other question was Nascom talent charter. I think Ashish has highlighted, and I'm sure Siva would like to say more, but I just wanted to highlight that we have built few foundational courses, AI, IoT, cybersecurity, they are launched. Please leverage, as Ashish told, these are available. You be the curator for your own career. On top of the institutes, that is one way to learn, but edX, Coursera, those are there. But now we have built FutureSkills Prime here, and these foundation courses are available. We are also working hard on 2 programs, embedded systems, because automotive with real life examples, consumer with real life examples, this would be launched very soon. And I think this is fantastic for the engineering R&D community. We are also looking at full stack kind of solutions or VLSI kind of solutions along with other partners. So as it happens, please leverage these platforms and learn from it, be your career curator and grow with it alongside the Institute's help. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Dr. Alok. So, Siva, Dr. Alok had spoken briefly about the partnerships and collaborations with the industry. So now I want to ask you that what kind of industry initiatives are being taken from your perspective at Nascom to bridge this perceived gap between skills that the graduates receive at the academic level and what the industry desires? Siva, you're on mute.
Automatic. Okay. So before, before going into NASCOM initiatives, what that we are driving, I also wanted to summarize what Ashish and Alok said. So couple of things the industry is working on bridging the gap, to align the students to the industry needs. One is the hackathons. For example, Ashish here from L&T, they're running a tech gem program. They're taking the real problems from the customers, reaching out to 400 colleges, right? So, and also selecting the students as well as running and mentoring throughout the process until it reaches to a certain stage or a proof of concept. The second is, the lot of companies also investing the lab infrastructure at academia. Of course, even Dr. Alok can also say. So especially to make the students to build that real-time applications on the digital space, right? This infrastructure is going to enable. Then the third element is also a lot of applied research collaboration with academia on the real-time projects, especially it's a commercial research programs. The third is also, a joint curriculum education, right? So this is a lot of initiatives that our industry is driving, but I agree that the reach is only maybe about 30 to 35% students. All these efforts are reaching today. At the NASCOM right now, what we are driving is one, how do we bring that extra academic training for the engineering students? Because the technology is rapidly changing. I think it is very difficult for academia to move up in the same phase. So what we did is we brought all about 25 companies together and see that how do we bring the industry relevant content on the digital engineering across the 5 technologies. So this is completely curated by industry. The whole content, it is not just getting from third party or academic courseware providers. Completely the subject matter experts from industry has developed this course, and it is leveraged one by the industry, especially to train their engineers, even a fresh engineers or even experienced engineers on the digital engineering. Second, they are also promote academic institutions with a preferential recruitment treatment for the students who certified during the fresher recruitment. So this is certain initiative that we already launched, and even Ashish was mentored the whole team. The second that we are doing on the Alok leadership, Dr. Alok leadership, is the embedded bootcamp program. So this is more to bring that extra academic and practical training for the engineers so that they can directly deploy it without any pre-training to a specific work. So today the industry recruit the fresh graduates, train for 3 to 6 months, then they will put into the job. So we are trying to reduce that burden to the industry. So these boot camps we are setting up across India, which is going to roll out from January. So this is about 450 hours of learning on the embedded electronics, the real-time learning, and also the practical. It is more a practical training, which is about 150 hours is the labs and also the solving the real-time problems that are typically solved by industry, and 150 hours instructor-led training and about 60 hours project thesis and the pre-reads, which includes about 150 hours. So this is the two initiatives, and after that we are planning to launch the similar bootcamp for the software and digital integration side.
Great. Thanks for that update. Thanks, Siva. So, we have now sort of understood the skills and the job roles and, what can be done to bridge that skill gap. So let us now understand how can we inspire the fresh graduates to take up and continue with their engineering R&D roles. So, Dr. Alok, I want to ask you first that, from an industry perspective, how can how can the industry inspire the fresh graduates to take up these ER&D roles? And also, what is the industry and also companies doing to attract these graduates, and what kind of opportunities are being created for them?
See, in the university, when people join, they learn different techniques of image processing and communication. So that is great, right? But when you join industry, what we are doing, industry is all about business. We want to solve some problems for consumers by certain means. So I think the first and foremost, for people to create that mindset from academics as they transition to this, that I have many tools in my kitty, whether it is software tools or process tools or other things that you have learned. And now I am ready to solve a problem. As Ashish mentioned about the importance of hackathon, there are case studies. So we have to have that mindset that I'm going to get some new problems. What excites us? You asked me the question, what excites? How do you inspire? It's all about getting excited to solve a real world's problem. Today, we have certain tools, we have technologies, that we have knowledge, and I am enriched by those academic studies, my experiences, whatever we have, and we have mentors, take up the problems and we solve it. Now, if you are joining, what happens, as we mentioned, the domain part of it, right? You get into a field, logistics today, as you can see, food delivery, Amazon, Flipkart, all of these. It looks like, it's easy thing to get from one place to the other, but there is a bigger platform that has to be secured. Payment has to be integrated, product qualities, the packaging. If it's a perishable goods, then it's one versus the other. There is a lot of details. Choose what details you want to handle. Not all people would be excited by all the details. This is important to know that which details excite you. But there is no shortcut that you can avoid the details and you want to have a rosy picture and manage something. But if you get into that, then I think you are there and you are into your verticals. And I just want to say one point. There are some people who love techniques and they want to grow horizontally. Let's say you learned image processing. I want to stick rest of my life in image processing. Good. But today you are in food industry, tomorrow you are in some surveillance, smart city, and you can go horizontally. But if you are growing in vertically, then you have to start somewhere and then say in that, what are the skills that are required next? And should I learn that? So as the business also grows and the trajectory changes, you fine tune and you navigate your path. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Alok. Thanks for that insight. So, Mr. Khushu, again, the same question to you as well. Yeah.
So, the question was, what should industry do, right?
Yes.
I'll tell you what we do. And I believe that that's the way forward. When we expect the future engineers or future employees and engineers to acquire a lot of capabilities and drive deeper and become specialized in certain areas, or develop an understanding of what happens when technologies converge, or build domain expertise, etc., and expect them to unlearn and learn the cliches. It's very important for the companies and organizations to provide an environment to these engineers which can enable all of this. And what we do in LTTS is we have a very robust innovation program that reaches out to everybody right from the time they join us through the year, blue sky thinking, right from, I can tell you a lot more about what we do, but we encourage ideation, we encourage innovation. We file a minimum of 25 patents every quarter. That makes it 100 patents in a year. We encourage them to write tech papers. We are investing at any given moment of time in around 55 to 60 different solutions, frameworks, and accelerators. That gives them an opportunity to participate in the building of some of these solutions or accelerators, which enables them to understand new technologies and understand the relevance of these solutions to the verticals that you have. I believe a robust innovation platform that will encourage engineers to ideate, file patents, write technical papers, a culture of encouraging them to refer to IEEE papers, encourage them to speak in tech conferences, participate in solution building frameworks, accelerators, etc., etc. This whole gamut of activity will allow them to build their skills, capabilities, dive deeper, and also would be a good motivation for them to join and remain in that organization. I believe a lot more needs to be done in creating such platforms across all organizations, and that will be good for us as well as the engineers who are coming in, and they have good enough platforms to do and experiment with whatever they want to.
Great.
That's the way to go from our perspective.
Yeah, thanks for that insight, Mr. Khushu. Now, Siva, in addition to this, to both Dr. Dey's and Mr. Khushu's insights, what industry initiatives, from a NASCOM perspective are being taken regarding that?
Yeah, so I think it was there, answer is there in my previous question. So one, to give that the exposure of engineering R&D. So we are enabling industry, working closely with industry, either it could be hackathons, it could be setting up the lab infrastructure to build that new use cases so that they get the hands-on and feel what is engineering R&D means, or promoting the internship program. Today you see that the internship made more online by Cisco and Microsoft. They were doing about 50 to 1 lakh internships every year. And so this is a lot of initiatives that we are driving to bring that awareness of what they do in engineering R&D to inspire for the R&D roles. That's one part. The second part is also we just started, working on, how engineering R&D, a campaign especially as a part of marketing from Nascom, how engineering R&D is more aspirational job for any fresh graduate, right? So definitely it is designing the products, right? So developing the new products, bringing that innovation, enabling the enterprises or even a global enterprises top line revenues by bringing good products launches, as well as increasing the bottom line, which is your profitability. So this is what every engineer is significantly contributing. So I think building that campaigns around it with academia to bring the awareness of R&D jobs. So that is the second initiative that we are driving.
Great, thanks, Siva. So now, this has nicely segued it into the next section. And this was actually touched upon by Mr. Khushu and Dr. Dey both, that how it was important to create domain expertise and a long-term career. So, Dr. Dey, I want to ask you that what advice would you give, for fresh engineering graduates to create a long-term career? And also, is it important to create a long-term career in a specific domain?
I mean, people can try hard to create, but it is these days, very long term is difficult. We used to do in country 5 years planning, but we don't do. Niti Aayog has taken. So we have to break it into chunks because the world is changing so much that you do not know. There is a lot of unknowns and the acceleration of change is too high for that. But what we should do is we have to peg somewhere. So I think, as I said, and let me repeat that point, it is not just what world is changing, your own orientation, who you are, the self-discovery, your maths orientation versus this, Do you want an application side? Are you an entrepreneurial mindset versus a research mindset? I think we need to know a bit before we say what career you should be building, because it will start bifurcating, trifurcating after some point. So that's important. Second thing, as I said, horizontal versus vertical. If you are industry specific and you want to grow in the organization, certain management skills along with engineering skills would be required as you progress, versus you are a deep researcher, that's another. And India, we would see many more startups in the deep tech space. We are promoting that. So if you are into that category, you should take it up. The last point is something starts like a vertical, like an AI, but if it has applications or even data analytics for that matter, it is a specialized area, and initially few people were knowing it and they have been doing it. But it may become gradually a horizontal skills because we are bringing it into our engineering R&D segments in automotive and the healthcare and all of these, educare, it is coming. So what you started and you had an edge, if you want to grow deeply into that, you continue to do that. But if you want to apply it, then you can also apply into that. So this horizontal, vertical, and your own orientations and some of the new skills that are coming, you have to have a basic skill sets of that. So that's what I would say. And as you move forward, you are comfortable. And at some point, you have to know that this is becoming routine for me. That means you have to grow somewhere. So that continuous learning and sensing what is changing in the world would be very important skill set, in my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very well, very aptly put here, definitely. So Mr. Khushu, now, how important is it for companies such as yours, to have talent which specialize in a particular domain and, who are building their expertise on that. So what advice would you then give to these fresh engineering graduates regarding that?
I think we've given a lot of advice to these people for the last 1 hour or so. I think so not much to add to whatever we have said, except for one point. Many engineers we talk to, at least I talk to, believe that because they are engineers, they are not wanting to understand the business side of what exactly is happening. For example, what does the customer sell? What type of products he sells? What is his market? What are the revenues that the customer is generating? They don't want to. They don't spend too much time understanding the financials or the business side of the vertical in which they're working, or the business side of the technologies that they're working in. I believe that it's important for them to spend some time on this. They cannot come back and say that they are not interested in finance or revenues. After all, they negotiate very heavily on their CTC and other benefits, right? So they know how money gets deducted, what are the taxes they end up paying, etc., etc. So it's important for them to understand the business part of technology. What is selling? Who's selling? Which industry is using which technology? What type of products are they working on when they are working on for a customer? All of this helps them take the right decision in terms of choices that they would want to make. It also gives them an early sign it also gives them an insight into early signs of the trends of both business and technology, and helps make a much better informed decision. So I would recommend that they spend some time understanding the business aspect of the work that they're doing or the customers they're working for.
Great. So we do understand that, and also today's discussion has proved that there is a pressing need to, for these upskilling and reskilling ourselves. So, Nascom FutureSkills Prime has, developed an exclusive digital engineering program, and this has been curated by 55 plus subject matter experts from 11 leading organizations in the engineering R&D industry. So this program, it offers a good understanding of 5 growing technologies, which is edge computing, IoT, cybersecurity, AI, ML, and big data analytics. And in fact, preferential hiring is also given from the ER&D industry upon successful completion. So I also have some questions which we would like to take. So Kamna, would you want to take over for the questions?
Sure. Sure. I think one of the question is, I'm a fresh graduate. So how can I how can I decide upon a career for myself?
Any of the panelists can take.
So find a mentor, find a counselor, talk to the agencies that could help, and then spend some time introspecting who you are. That's what I would say.
I think I'll take one more question. What opportunities would the professionals working in the cyber security job roles have in the ER&D arena?
Let me take
Mr.
that.
Khushu,
A lot.
Mr.
A
Khushu.
lot. A lot. First of all, cyber security in the ER&D world is not the cyber security that you otherwise associate with. Security in manufacturing, security for automotive products, security for medical products, security for industrial products, security for IT, OT, security-based standards implementation. There is a whole plethora of technologies and processes and standards that go behind security implementations in ER&D customers. It's a hugely growing area. A normal cybersecurity person who understands DLP, antivirus, email security, etc., are not good enough skills for this. It's therefore very important to work or learn about what does security for automotive mean, security for medical mean, security for manufacturing means, etc. Huge opportunities. And this is only a growth area from all perspectives, including embedded security, which, by the way, is very different. So huge area for huge opportunities wait ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Khushu. I think I'll take one last question because we are almost on the clock. The question is, the motivation to do something is as important as doing something. So how does a leader like you wake up in the morning and is motivated to work? So how do you motivate yourself, and where does the motivation come from?
So we should go with Dr. Alok to start with.
No, as I said, we want to solve people's problem. I think if you are an empathetic person and things, and you see the world has many challenges, we are here as a business to solve some problems. So that should excite some of the people. And the way I do it additionally is that I want to make my today better than yesterday. That's it.
Excellent. And I'll go to Mr. Khushu now.
Well, I have always worked or tried to work in areas which are close to my passion. I enjoy doing what I do. The challenge of the unknown, the challenge of working with newer technologies is always challenging. It keeps you young. It keeps you on your toes. And more importantly, it enables me to work with very young engineers across the ranks. And that in itself infuses a lot of energy in you. And that's the only way you beat Bangalore traffic.
Siva?
No, I second both Ashish and Dr. Alok.
Great. That was a very, very insightful session. I'm sure our audience members also had a lot to gain and lot more insights that they could get. And for any details regarding the course, you can always log on to FutureSkills Prime website and then get the details about the course. So thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot to the esteemed panelists today for sharing your insights and patiently answering all the questions. So thank you very, very much. And thank you for all the audience who have joined and who have waited. I know we are a little bit over the time. So thank you so much for participating and actively asking questions as well. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Take care.
Great. Thanks to Nascom, and let the FutureSkills Prime rock.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Have
you.
a
Thank you
great
so
day
much.
and
Thank you.
happy Diwali to all of you.
Happy Diwali to all. Thank you.